In our headlines on this Friday, August 14th here in South Korea, a White House memo reveals that companies making substantial and sustained investment in American shipyards will be allowed to build up to 2 ships at a parent company's shipyard. Meanwhile, South Korea's exports of ICT products hit a July record of $53.3 billion, surging over 140% from a year earlier as booming global AI demand drives semiconductor shipments. And as a deepening drought grips Gyeongsang-Namdo province, the nationwide firefighting mobilization order has been extended indefinitely, with emergency crew continuing to deliver water to parched farmland. The Trump administration is conditionally allowing as many as 2 U.S. warships to be built at foreign shipyards, offering South Korean shipbuilders a new road into the American naval defense market. Our Lee Ju-yeon explains.
U.S. President Donald Trump has allowed foreign shipbuilders to build 2 U.S. warships overseas, provided they invest in U.S. shipyards. According to a White House memorandum released on Thursday, the plan aims to allow the U.S. rapidly acquire initial vessels from overseas while transferring advanced foreign shipbuilding technology and production methods to U.S. shipyards. At the same time, it drives domestic investment to restore shipbuilding competitiveness to the U.S. Foreign shipbuilders will be able to build 2 vessels in their home country, provided that they satisfy specific conditions. First, they must establish a new U.S. shipyard or acquire a majority stake in an existing one. Trump added that all ships after the first 2 must be built in the United States. Second, they must hire and train an American citizen workforce to operate these U.S. shipyards. Third, they must license their proprietary shipbuilding technologies and techniques to their U.S. shipyards. Fourth, they must source the U.S. supply chain for the construction and maintenance of all ships built at these U.S. shipyards. Among Korean shipbuilders, Hanwha is well-positioned to qualify, as it acquired Philly Shipyard in Philadelphia in December 2024. President Trump has consistently expressed interest in the Korean shipbuilding industry, aligning it with his MASCA, or Make American Shipbuilding Great Again, initiative to revive the U.S. maritime sector.
So we're going to probably look at some of these companies that are coming in from South Korea and other places, and they're working with us on ships, and we're going to also buy some ships that are made outside of the area.
This interest coincides with deepening bilateral cooperation, as Korea previously pledged to invest $150 billion in the U.S. shipbuilding industry as part of a broader $350 billion trade and investment agreement reached last year. Attention is now focused on whether this U.S. memorandum will pave the way for broader opportunities across the Korean shipbuilding sector. Lee Ju-yeon, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, over in the Middle East, the UAE has accused Iran of attacking 2 of its state-owned oil tankers transiting through the Strait of Hormuz. Our issue covers this accusation and more.
Tensions in the Middle East escalate after attacks hit vital energy routes. Reuters reported that the United Arab Emirates has accused and strongly condemned Iran after Abu Dhabi's state oil giant ADNOC said 2 of its vessels were targeted in the Strait of Hormuz on Thursday local time. No crew injuries were reported. Emirati officials denounced the strikes as an act of piracy threatening global energy security. This marks the latest incident in a series of hostile actions against commercial shipping in the region, coming just days after another ADNOC tanker was struck in an attack that the UAE says was by Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. Meanwhile, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis claim to have launched a targeted drone strike against a Saudi Aramco refinery in Jazan. The Iran movement-aligned Saba news agency reported that the Houthis alleged airspace violations by Saudi Arabia as a reason for the attack. This comes as Houthi forces enforce a naval blockade in the Red Sea following airport strikes on Yemen's city of Sana'a. With naval blockades expanding across both the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz, global energy markets remain on high alert as diplomatic efforts struggle to break the deadlock. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
Elsewhere, Colombia's earthquake disaster is entering a grim new phase with the death toll mounting and the window to finding survivors rapidly closing. Our Lee Seung-jae has the latest.
Rescue efforts are continuing in Colombia 3 days after a powerful earthquake, as the critical 72-hour window for finding survivors has now passed. Colombian authorities say at least 273 people have been killed and around 3,800 injured, while 377 remain officially listed as missing. However, a civilian-run missing person database puts the number of people unaccounted for at more than 4,200. Despite the passing of the so-called golden time, when the chances of finding survivors are believed to fall sharply, rescue teams and volunteers are still searching through collapsed buildings and piles of debris.
If someone got stuck over there, I'm going over there. Sometimes they don't let me in because I'm not from an institution. I don't have a blue cross or green or red. No, but we, the elders, have knowledge. We know what this is.
At some locations, crews have begun removing rubble, even as searches continue, raising concerns that hopes of finding more survivors alive are fading. Rescue operations have been especially difficult in isolated and hard-to-reach areas. In some communities, including areas near the port city of Buenaventura, northwest of Cali, official rescue teams did not arrive until late on Wednesday. Until then, residents were forced to search through the wreckage themselves, in some cases digging with their bare hands in hopes of finding relatives and neighbors trapped beneath the rubble. Authorities say search and recovery operations are expected to continue as the full scale of the disaster becomes clearer. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
South Korea's ICT exports are powering to new heights, posting a record high in July as surging global demand for AI chips and related technologies drives another export boom. Our Baek Joo-hee has details.
Korea's information and communications technology exports hit an all-time record for the month of July, exceeding $50 billion for the second consecutive month. Data released by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resources on Friday shows that July ICT exports surged by 140.6% on year to $53.36 billion. Accounting for 54% of total exports, the ICT sector remained a major export driver, making up over half of all national exports for 3 consecutive months. With imports rising 37.3%, Korea reported an ICT trade surplus of around $35 billion. By item, semiconductor exports surged 178.8% on year to around $41 billion, recording triple-digit annual growth for 7 consecutive months. Shipments of computers and peripherals soared 353.9%, extending gains for 9 straight months as SSD exports alone leaped about 500%. Displays edged up 0.5% on rising demand for mobile OLED panels, while mobile phone exports increased 62.6%. By destination, ICT exports expanded across all major markets, with shipments to China jumping 194.7% to more than $22 billion, accounting for over 41% of the total. Exports to the United States and the EU also surged by nearly 187 and 202% respectively. Experts say that this sharp surge in ICT exports is largely attributable to the recent rise in semiconductor prices and booming demand. Yet concerns are growing over how long this momentum can last, as foreign competitors quickly narrow the technological gap.
With the U.S. pushing for localized production and protective trade policies, along with China rapidly closing the tech gap, maintaining our export momentum will be tough. To stay ahead of these rising rivals, Korea must drive technological innovation and develop next-generation semiconductor products.
Korea's ability to maintain its technological lead while navigating international market shifts will determine whether this record-breaking export trend can be sustained in the long run. 백주희, Arirang News.
Also on the local front, the drought in Gyeongsang-Namdo province is deepening, prompting authorities here to extend a nationwide firefighting mobilization order indefinitely as emergency crew continues to rush water to parched farmland. Our An Sung-jin reports.
Water gushes from a military truck into a dry irrigation ditch. The stream quickly flows toward a parched rice field, bringing much-needed water to crops. Gyeongsang-Namdo province in the southeast of the country is struggling under prolonged drought. In Hamanggun County, near the center of the province, the situation is severe. At a reservoir in the county, the lake bed is fully exposed, and water levels have dropped to an emergency alert level where even with the floodgates completely open, there's barely any water left to release. 15 military water trucks had been deployed to keep the farmland supplied, and for the local farmers, every truckload makes a difference.
During my 28 years of farming, I have never experienced anything like this. Seeing the water come in gives me some comfort, and I'm so grateful.
This operation is part of a nationwide emergency response. National Fire Mobilization Order had been issued to dispatch emergency water supplies across the region. It was originally scheduled for 2 days until Thursday, with some 200 fire trucks from across the country sent to 14 cities and counties to deliver agricultural water. But now the order has been extended indefinitely. With the extension, the number of trucks will be reduced to 100, but water deliveries will continue in areas where agricultural water is most urgently needed based on local reservoir levels. And as the drought continues across the region, the Interior Ministry on Friday established a new task force dedicated to tackling the situation, bringing together officials from the Agriculture and Environment Ministries, as well as other related organizations. The government plans to use emergency funds to increase water supplies and minimize damage for residents and crops. Rain is forecast for parts of the province over the weekend, with some hope that this can relieve the dire situation and offer a lifeline for the farmers. Fire authorities say they will continue to monitor the weather before deciding when to lift the mobilization order. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, travel times on the road are expected to rise during this upcoming long weekend in celebration of Liberation Day. The Korea Expressway Corporation expects well over 5 million vehicles to hit the road on a daily basis, starting from Saturday until Monday. On Liberation Day alone, that is Saturday, August 15th, some 420,000 vehicles are expected to leave the Seoul metropolitan area, leading to longer travel times from the capital region to other parts of the country. For instance, a road trip from Seoul to Busan is expected to take nearly 8 hours, while the drive to the east coast city of Gangneung could take around 7 hours and 40 minutes. For generations, Jeju's Haenyeo have braved the sea on a single breath, passing down not only a way of life, but also a powerful legacy of resilience, community, and care for the ocean. Our culture correspondent Hong Se-jung files this report.
A joyful song drifts across the seaside. The voices belong to the Haenyeo, Jeju Island's renowned female divers and bearers of its intangible cultural heritage. They plunge into the sea to harvest seafood. But unlike most divers, they don't use oxygen tanks. Recognized for their unique traditions and way of life, the Haenyeo were designated as a UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2016. Haenyeo-run restaurants serving fresh seafood harvested by the divers also offer visitors an authentic taste of Jeju's unique culture. The freshness of the seafood and the Haenyeo's traditional culinary touch have also won over foreign visitors. Haenyeo culture holds significance not only as an intangible cultural heritage, but also as a unique cultural attraction for foreign visitors to Jeju. But as marine pollution continues to harm marine life, the number of Haenyeo is gradually declining.
The waters are polluted, so there isn't much to harvest anymore. For this tradition to continue, there needs to be enough marine life in the sea for the Haenyeo to keep doing what we do.
In order to honor and contribute to preservation of Haenyeo culture, the Haenyeo Museum on Jeju Island provides guided programs to explain its history and traditions.
We didn't really know about the history of the Haenyeo, how they forged their own paths, or much about their lives and culture. I hope more opportunities will be created for people to learn about and understand their culture.
Foreign tourists also showed an interest in Haenyeo culture.
First time listen Haenyeo culture and history. Oh, Haenyeo very hot.
Haenyeo divers today have very diverse backgrounds, from environmental activists and influencer Haenyeo to foreigner Haenyeo.
I hope there will be Haenyeo in the next generation who can continue diving together, and I hope we can have clean and safe seas. I want to help protect the ocean and together with my fellow Haenyeo, carry on the Haenyeo culture.
The Haenyeo culture has lasted this long through the dedication of its members. Now younger Haenyeo are showing the same dedication to keep the culture alive. Hong Seo-jung, Arirang News, Jeju.
From modernized designs to everyday styling, Hanbok is being reimagined for contemporary tastes while preserving its cultural identity. Our Cho Young-eun shows us how.
People line up to explore new styles and trends as traditional Korean clothing takes on a fresh contemporary look. This is the 2026 Hanbok Expo in Seoul, Korea's largest exhibition dedicated to hanbok.
Here, both traditional and contemporary styles of hanbok come together on one fashion platform, showing how Korea's heritage can be reinterpreted in ways to find new meaning for modern audiences.
As hanbok moves beyond special occasions and into everyday wardrobes, the expo offers a glimpse of how this cultural heritage is becoming part of everyday life.
I came here to see what styles and trends are popular this year. Since we no longer live in the Joseon era, I wanted to see how traditional hanbok designs are being adapted into everyday clothing and accessories such as hair ornaments that people can actually wear in their daily lives.
Now in its 9th year, the Hanbok Expo brings together 149 companies under the theme, "The Market Where Hanbok Are Made." Participants have the opportunity to explore the beauty of hanbok through a custom hanbok making experience, making traditional Korean clothing more accessible and familiar.
Hanbok is our traditional clothing, so I've always wanted people to keep wearing and enjoying it. I'm glad that events like this are still being held, because they give us more opportunities to experience and enjoy hanbok.
Also showcased are businesses from Gwangjang Market, which has been a major hub for hanbok production and distribution in Korea for around 120 years, and has now become a popular destination for those looking to experience the roots of Korean culture. The exhibition recreates the entire hanbok making process, from selecting fabrics and adding intricate embroidery to completing the garment using traditional sewing techniques.
This market has a history of almost 100 years as a specialized textile market. We want to introduce the craftsmanship of these merchants and show people that Korea has truly exceptional clothing and fabrics. Many people may not be familiar with these details, but our natural silk fabrics in particular are of a quality that can compete anywhere in the world.
From traditional and everyday hanbok to fabrics, accessories, bags, and lifestyle goods, a wide range of products are being offered at affordable prices, drawing a steady stream of visitors. Cho Young-eun, Arirang News.
This is the world now. In the United States, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is rejecting reports of poor conditions aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier. He said on Thursday that the reports were, quote, completely misrepresented. Two military news outlets, Navy Times and Stars and Stripes, reported suicide attempts and failing morale aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln. The ship carries 5,000 people and has been at sea since November 2025. It has been in the Middle East since January, supporting the U.S. war with Iran. Hegseth told reporters on Thursday that the Navy gives every crew, quote, everything it can. A U.S. official said on Thursday another carrier is already on its way to replace the Lincoln. In the United States, a federal trade court has handed President Donald Trump a rare legal win on tariffs. The U.S. Court of International Trade ruled on Thursday that Trump had the power to scrap the de minimis exemption, which lets imports worth less than $800 come in without tariffs. Trump scrapped the exemption in February 2025 for goods from China, Mexico, and Canada using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Trump on Thursday called the ruling, quote, a big win. In Hungary and Romania, record low levels on the Danube River are starving nuclear reactors of the water that cools them. Romania shut down its last working reactor on Thursday after efforts to divert cooling water fell short. Hungary is now running its Pax nuclear plant at 25% of capacity. That plant supplies around half of the country's power. Hungary's prime minister said on Wednesday the government would build a submerged dam-like structure to lift the river. 2 barges could be sunk on Friday to lift water levels. In the United States, 5 investors are suing pop star Selena Gomez over a mental health startup that collapsed last year. The lawsuit was filed on Thursday in a Delaware federal court. The investors say Gomez, as one of the co-founders, promised to use her popularity and social media following of more than 500 million people to promote the company Wondermind. The lawsuit said that the investors put $1.2 million into the company in 2022. Gomez and the startup's 2 other founders have not responded to requests for comment. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Today is Malbok, the last of Korea's 3 hottest days of summer. With humidity factored in, it felt like it was around 33 degrees Celsius in many areas. Heat advisories have been placed once again, and they are now in effect across many parts of the country, including Seoul. And with the atmosphere becoming unstable, most parts of the country will see passing showers of 5 to 40 millimeters of rain today. So keep an umbrella handy on your way home. Rain will start moving into the southern regions tomorrow afternoon, then spread across most of the country by early Sunday morning. Jeju Island and the southern regions could see 20 to 50 millimeters of rain per hour, with total rainfall topping 120 to 150 millimeters in some areas. Tomorrow, Seoul will start the day at 24 degrees, Daejeon and Daegu at 23 degrees. Then by the afternoon, Seoul will get up to 32 degrees, Chuncheon 31 and Busan 30 degrees. The rain will gradually taper off Monday night, the substitute holiday. Now here's a look at the weather around the world.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. As always, thank you for watching.